The time period that I'm talking about, the time period of abuse, was between the ages of 9 to 13. So I remember how it started. Like, I remember the exact moment. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but this person who did it for the longest time, he was, you could call him a family friend. Like, he was my aunt's my aunt's husband's, I don't know, nephew or something, and he was someone from their side. So it was a very distant relative, and he used to spend a lot of time at our house. I remember distinctly that there was some time when he came home, and I just hugged him because he got me a chocolate or something, and it was a very innocent hug. And I remember later in the same day is when it started. My father passed away when I was 11, and about a year and a half before that, he had a very massive attack. He was a lung patient, and he had a lung disease, and he had a very bad attack, so much so that at that point, actually, we had thought that we would probably lose him. So he was in the hospital for a long period of time, at which point I was alone at home for most of the time, because my brother at that point was not at home and he was outside studying engineering. So my mother would be at the hospital and I'll be alone at home, and this guy would come home on the pretext of seeing me, and then it would just happen. Like, he would touch me all over, he would grope me, he would rub himself against me, and from time to time he would ask me, I do this, I hope you don't mind, right? This is a way of showing my love. In the time when my father had this major attack, and in the time of recovery after he came back from the hospital also, I was staying for a long time with my aunt and uncle. This guy also used to stay with them many times. Many a times they would leave me alone with him, like leave him to babysit me. And there was a free pass for him to do anything that he wanted to do. I remember I used to try and avoid him. Like, if he was sitting on the bed, I would sit on the floor. Eventually, I don't remember exactly how it stopped, but he kind of phased out of my life. I mean, I remember just feeling at that point that there was so much happening on my father's end, and there was so much that my mother was going through anyway. So I just felt like the fact that this was happening to me and that I did not particularly like it was not something that I should have articulated. Later, I figured out that maybe I should have probably said that to them, because that, I have a feeling, to a certain extent, festered. I would blame my mother or my brother, who's 11 years older to me, for not paying enough attention or knowing their child enough to figure out that something was wrong. That feeling has long gone. It has gone, of course, with a certain amount of therapy. Funnily enough, I mean, if I had to, I can't even properly recall his entire face. But there are times when I think about it and I can just feel my body feeling the same touch again. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I can feel that feeling that I felt at that point in time. That is something that's really difficult to shake off. I have never thought of approaching this legally at all, because this perpetrator kind of left my life without me actually doing anything. It was a gradual process. And secondly, after a certain point in time, it really stopped mattering who the person who was doing it was. Like, right now, honestly, it doesn't matter to me whether that guy is brought to the book for my crime, because I just think it will bring up a lot of unpleasant memories if I go back, and it's just not something that I want to get deep into at this point in time, because the repercussions, I honestly think I don't have the strength to deal with right now. But what I had a problem with was that I felt that my family should pay for it, for not protecting me, and that is something that I have worked with, and that is something that that I would much rather, if I had to work on something, that is what I would work on rather than getting some kind of legal retribution. I think because of the incident, since my teenage life and all through my adult life, I have stopped paying as much importance or stop assigning as much importance to sex or sexual activities as I think a lot of people do. There's a certain kind of sacredness that certain people assign to sex, which I have never assigned. That has led me to be the victim of slut shaming. That has led to a lot of misunderstandings. That has led to a lot of mental harassment and heartbreak for different reasons. But yeah, like, I am what people colloquially would call sexually easy, quote unquote. There have been multiple incidents in multiple other places by multiple other people, but this is really what I would say has stayed on and will stay on for the rest of my life.